Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Spring Championships quarterfinals. Let's kick this off with Veni Vidi VCW versus Kiljardi. Absolutely. Before we begin the match, I'd just like to point out that a lot of coverage for this tournament is not on my channel. A lot of it can be found on Veni's channel. It has videos of me in it, and many videos of, well, without me in it. Like, it's Veni's channel, of course. But, yeah, some of the commentary I did is on his channel, not on mine. Alternatively, you can find all the coverage for this event in the playlists on my YouTube channel. Though I point this out as it's going to be the first video of the quarterfinals on my channel. So quarterfinals, for those of you who do not know, is the round of 8. That's right, 8 players competing for a spot in the round of 4, which is the quarterfinals, and then obviously we'll go to the finals after that. But here we have in the south of the map in the colour green, Veni Vidi VCW. Certainly a very good player. I've said it before, possibly one of the best or better team game players out there, and equally as good in 1v1 as well. As I mentioned, has his own YouTube channel, streams a lot on Twitch, PR 40 plus, and his elo. Why not? Let's just go and list that off. Currently 2,000 in 1v1, which is but 2,900 in team. Good lord, that is actually yeah, that's
it's frighteningly high.
That is. He's repping a fairly low elo in 1v1 though, but clearly has. It doesn't need to prove us anything. Has made it this far, taken out in the previous stages of this event. We'll only have to do this these introduction sort of things for this first match. But taken out in this event, Maito in the round of 64, Wiggs in 32, Spadel in the round of 16, and here he is versus Kiljardi. But yes, playing the French in the south of the map in the colour green has built a market. As you can hear, I'm joined by Zuta. Would you like to introduce our opponent?
Sure, I guess I can. So spawning up in the north side of the map is Kiljardi, who is historically probably one of the better players in Age of Empires 3. I don't know what his current status of form is, but obviously to make it to the round of 8 and to be in this kind of position where he's even playing for, cash prize money, obviously is playing at a fairly high level. So spawning up here in the north in the orange trunks is Kiljardi, and I'm actually really curious to see how this matchup plays out. Like, yeah. I have no idea who I think will win this game. Like, I think either player could go 4-0. I think either player could be really on form and just really impress me, and I think it could be a really close series as well. So I'm very curious to see how this will play out, because I have literally no clue who's going to win this game.
Yeah, Kiljardi, certainly one of the stronger players from back in the day. Pops his head in every now and again when there's a tournament going on, but never really disappeared. Has always been around. Currently has definitely PR 40 plus. In fact, everyone in the event at this point is. In fact, his current PR is 46. Oh, that was his max. 2,600 elo. So we'll give it at that. This is a French mirror though, as you may have seen. And so far, I guess we'll take a look at the treasures. Kiljardi finding himself 240 wood treasures, not too bad at all. Notably, has not built a market. Yes, he has. It's over here. It's hidden in this spot.
Yes.
I like that market, actually. That's like blocking. You've got this patch of whatever that is, blocking off that area, and then you can secure some line of sight for any cavalry coming down through the side there. Pretty nice placement.
I mean, if you consider the potential raid paths that Veni's going to take when it comes to raiding the backside of Kiljardi's base, that's a really prime suspect for somewhere where Hussar are going to sneak their way through.
Take a look at this. We see Kiljardi looks like he's going to be losing his Explorer fairly on in the game there. That's not too good. He does have his own monkey of his own, but certainly not going to have that involved. You'd lose that as well. But they're not too bad. Veni picking himself up 45 XP, but more importantly, going to be denying his opponent some scouting ability.
Yeah, how did Kiljardi's scout get that low to start with? He must have
I think it was a 70
treasure.
Yeah, it was a 85 wood treasure that he managed to pick up.
Yeah.
Veni also got something equal, almost as good, 75 food. So doing okay for treasures, but yeah, he's obviously taking out 2 tigers is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, but to be fair, he's gotten 165 wooden treasures to start with, so I don't think he's going to be too bothered with losing his Explorer. The one bad thing about losing your Explorer in this fashion is that he's not going to be able to immediately transition that extra wood into a trading post or something of the sort. And, ooh, it looks like Veni gearing up for some pressure. A couple forward bills up here.
Ooh, okay. Perhaps something a bit different coming out there. Maybe some crossbow pike pressure, or perhaps not come... Oh, come to think of it, look at his hunts. They're not... Well, they're reasonable. I was going to say if you've got bad hunts, you can crossbow pike your opponent, but more likely to see the Musk cavalry, sort of standard French, but with actually forward buildings. out of him, which is certainly going to not... Well, Kiljardi won't really have any option to go up to the Fortress Age. Then he'll have to play it in a Colonial, which is what you usually see in a French mirror.
Yeah, I think Colonial plays fairly standard in French mirrors. I think most people feel most comfortable doing something like must-cav oriented, and certainly Venny. It looks like I believe he's going to just straight out dual racks musket rush.
We'll have to see. 400 wood on the
what it's
floor
looking
now.
like.
Dual musk. I've seen. Okay, so I've seen H2O start with a forward stable and a forward barracks and play standard, but with the forward buildings. And I've seen people like Blackstar sneak up to the Fortress Age out of nowhere, and which is really risky to do. But if you can get up, you can really, really punish your opponent for that. But that's not relevant right now. Here, actually going to go to the stable in the barracks.
Yep. I thought he was going to try for some sort of counterplay with like dual racks musket rush or something like that. I mean, I guess the forward stable and the forward barracks does accomplish, you know, similar things to what it would in your base. It just gets it to your opponent a little bit quicker and improves your reinforcement time a little bit. But yeah, it looks like both players just opening with a fairly standard rack stable start, and I think we're just going to see a little bit of a battle of micro here in the early portions of the game.
Yep, and that's true. But have you seen Orange's scout? I cannot find it at all. Obviously, his hero's back up and running, but his native scout does not appear to be in action. I do not think he's seen these two forward buildings, so it might not be expecting the pressure to fall on him quite as quickly.
At the same time, I'm pretty sure that this monkey that he has here took at least a swing through the base. And if you see absolutely nothing in your opponent's base, especially in a French mirror, you'll probably start to suspect that he's got something. So I don't think Kiljardi will be caught completely unaware. We can see he's even putting his muskets in a fairly defensive spot here, like standing right on top of his town center. So I'm pretty sure he knows something is up and doesn't want to get caught in any way. And in fact, they're the Hussar just saw the muskets running on the right side, so...
Yeah, that's true. That monkey doesn't have the biggest line of sight, though, so it could have been possible that he thought maybe the Raxes were totally in the back, but I think it's more likely what you're saying here, that he's aware of what is going on. But let's talk about this matchup right now. The way this plays out, we're not seeing anything funky except from the forward buildings, but this is still fairly normal. You usually start with these, but normally they'd be in your base. Here you start with a couple of cavs, you can see both players have done. Certainly Kiljardi roaming around the map with 5 cav, wants to do a little bit of raiding with those. And then both players will be making mostly muskets, which is not normally the case in every single game of Age of Empires 3, but certainly in the French mirror, it's making sure you don't fall behind on military production in the musketeer department, because those, if you stop making them, and maybe you want to go up to the next stage, and if you don't continue to make units, you'll get they'll overwhelm you and perhaps flatten you, and you'll never actually get up. But if you can sneak up to the Fortress Age, if you can do that, you find the opportunity to. The skirmishers and dragoons very, very strong.
Yeah, obviously against like the Musk-Huss composition in general, Skirm Goon is really good. Just dragoons in general against Musk-Huss is really, really strong. It's really good at shutting that down. And if you can find your way aged up, obviously you're going to have a huge advantage because you're going to have the ability to make dragoons. But it's getting to that point without dying, while your opponent is just making constant use of the aggression that really causes issue. A little bit of a raid down there, Did pick up 1 C2B.
That's it's 5 cav versus 4, I think, and actually Venny okay with engaging that. Actually, I think it was equal, but here, yeah, you can see going for the raid, and I think Venny wants to shut this down and use his cav to neutralize his opponents. But by the looks of it, actually,
Kiljardi coming out really far ahead.
Yeah, I think he might be able to bring it down to just 1 cavalry, but yeah, that's still 200 reasons. Oh, that one stays alive.
A little bit of a raid up here, though, too. 1 C2B already down on the north side of the map. Looks like a second one going to go down as well.
Yeah. Where did he spare those cavalry from? Must have made a few extra cav. If they were there in the fight in his base, he could have shut down these cav raids. But I think one cav isn't going to be too threatening against the Carrera de Bois. They could just gang up on that, so it's okay. But managing to pick up some villager kills of his own, not too bad at all. But have you noticed the difference in the build orders so far? Looks like Venny gearing up to push out right now, and Kiljardi, you know, with the eco theory, gonna be slowing down a bit until that obviously pays off.
Eco theory actually really surprised me. I feel like something like Huss HP or something might even be more valuable at this point, even though he doesn't have that many Huss or anything. But like eco theory feels a bit all in. I don't know. It's like, well, not all in. I guess it's more well rounded, but it just feels awkward. It feels like you're just preparing to die. It feels like he's just not going to have enough here.
It's
Maybe
like at
Veni
this
will just run
point,
him over.
if you have 23 villages, it's like a 2.3 vill shipment, which isn't very good, especially when you have a 4 vill shipment in Age 4 and all of the resource shipments are 700 each. And here, your opponent sends 8 crossbowmen. You can see here, Kiljardi on the back foot trying to get out, lost maybe 1, 2, 3. That's a 4th Musk. There's another one, almost dead, almost dead, 21 HP. Can he catch it? I think, yeah, it goes down. It's like 5 Musks down out of nowhere just because he's on the retreat. And that combined with the fact that there's 8 extra crossbowmen in Veni's army here, I think Kiljardi's having a tough time. Calls the Minutemen, and now, like, certainly Veni's not going to be able to push in on top of the base, doesn't have the units for that, but can keep him on the back foot and perhaps harass the villagers and really contain him.
Yeah, but all that time, Kiljardi's been actually getting some really nice little raids over here. These 2 Hussar are causing a big problem back in Veni's base, and Veni doesn't have any Hussar of his own to be able to actually deal with that, and as a result, his villagers are forced to be idle a lot of the time. They're doing a lot of running around. A couple CDB have dropped, although despite the fact that a couple CDB have dropped, Kiljardi's actually behind 2 CDB, so...
Yeah, they have both been raiding, of course, but... Veni, you look at Veni's resources, he's got 600 coin there, although that is most likely because of his 700 coin shipment, but he doesn't really want all these villagers on the coin mines, he'd much rather have them on food. There's 3 Hussars coming in to defend of his own, so he's going to place them in that area to shut down any raids, and his villagers can get back to gathering. But if he's not collecting the correct resources, not going to be able to create quite as many military units, and Kiljardi going to be totally okay, and that eco theory gonna start paying off the longer this game goes on.
Yeah, sure. That's definitely a card that in the long term is going to have huge benefits for him. I'm just a bit concerned about...
Oh, catches the 2 cavalry, though. That's not too bad.
Yeah.
But doesn't want to get too involved. Just playing very, very passively. Doesn't want to make sure... Like, if those 2 cavalry turn around and start attacking your green ones, they get snared, and then these musketeers that are nearby, they'll finish them off. So if you get too close to your opponent's base, don't want to continue fighting that.
Ooh, and Veni's the first one to pull the trigger. He is actually on his way up, and...
Oh, okay. Has used the extra resources from the 700 coin to get up to the next stage. If he can successfully get there and not get overrun by his opponent, then he'll start to get out that 8 skirm shipment, start making skirmishes and dragoons. And skirms, obviously, hard counter musketeers, dragoons, hard counter cavalry, which are the only 2 things really Kiljardi be making. It's if he can hold out long enough.
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough.
This is the perfect disparity for people who are new to the game of like what happens when one person ages and the other doesn't. We can see Kiljardi has 63 military pop versus Veni's 41, but Veni has just advanced to the fortress age, meaning he has the availability to have better tech, better units, just in general, and just like stuff like 2 falconets, which are just like going to be innately stronger. But for the time being, he's actually fairly far behind in military population. And until he gets that rolling, Kiljardi's got a little bit of a timing window here where he can push in and do some fairly serious damage with this military advantage.
Yeah.
And we'll see whether or not he's able to do that because, Veni has just hit fortress. He does need some time to get his fortress ball kind of rolling. We can see now the veterancy upgrade is here for the muskets.
Yep.
And potentially that window has already closed, but it's a really good visualization, I guess, for new players to the game of what it actually looks like when one person ages and the other doesn't.
Yeah,
you basically have
2 falconets.
You do have a little bit. Oh, is it there? Yep, here it comes.
Yep.
And
I was
with the
expecting
upgrade,
that. He had so many musketeers, right, and he chose to upgrade them. That's a really good portion of anti-cavalry. 2 cannons, easily protected by all of that, and that your opponent isn't going to be able to get close to that until they go up to the fortress age themselves. So Kiljardi missed his opportunity to push in, but he can go up to the next stage himself, follow him up, that's perfectly okay. But perhaps, actually, we have a standoff here.
He might just choose to fight, yeah.
Yeah, with the villagers coming in, he might be able to overwhelm them. These 2 cannons, certainly well defended here, but with all of the villagers as well, he's going to be very careful not to attack those with his ranged units. Those things have a 40% range resist, 243 hit points, but dragoons starting to come in. I don't know.
The cannons and the choke are just brutal at this point as well.
Yeah.
The fact that they're fighting in this choke and none of the cav ever had the ability to get around behind to where the falconets actually are, it's absolutely brutal. And those 2 falconets have gotten huge amounts of value. Even if Veni loses his army here, which he's likely to do just due to the overwhelming numbers because Kiljardi has present.
Yep.
He's killed so much, and like now stuff like 8 skirms, 5 goons, stuff like that is going to start rolling in behind this. And he's really in a fantastic position. He's neutralized effectively the army. He's made these villagers be not gathering for such a long period of time. And the number of shipments and high-tech units he's going to have to follow this up is just going to be absolutely great for him. And we can see the skirmishers, starting to work their way in now.
And everything you're saying is reflected in the score. Look at that, 133 to Veni. Absolutely insane value on that cannon ship. And they were doing so much work in the back, and Kiljardi had to expend so much to get rid of them. And that was his colonial army and his, of course, Carreras, which many have died. You can see that in the settler count. Veni 10 up. And obviously all that time they were dying, they were also not gathering, so not as many reinforcements going to be following in here as well. But these cavalry coming in might be able to do a little bit of damage to the skirmishers, but I don't think so. There's quite a lot of dragoons there, going to bring them down quickly, and this battle doesn't look too favourable for him.
Yeah, Veni really starting to pull ahead here, and we can see, like, just the longer these CDB are forced to fight, just means they're not gathering resources. They're just as good as dead at this point. They're
I think
glorified
they might be dead at this point.
They may very well, and in fact, the game may very well be over at this point. Kiljardi has really no way that he can follow Veni up in age. We can see, just looking at the resources floating, he has essentially 0 food in bank, and that's going to mean that he's not ever going to be able to age up. And as a result, Veni in just an absolutely commanding position. Wouldn't be surprised to see Kiljardi resign here fairly soon, actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. But the game goes on. It is a tournament game. Kiljardi going to fight it out to the last moment. These games are not your casual AoE 3 match that you're playing here, so you want to make sure you've lost perhaps before you quit. So maybe we'll see him hang on a bit longer there. But as you can say, all these military shipments coming in, these really strong techie units, 8 skirms, 7 skirms. I imagine he'll be training dragoons and perhaps skirmishers as well. I'm not sure what he's up to. But yeah, I think Kiljardi missed his window to push in when Veni popped up to the next stage. But then you could go back, follow him up, that's okay, but missed that as well. Chose not to do that. Thought maybe he could overwhelm his opponent in that. But having said that, 5 Cuirassiers coming out from Veni. No, they're not. I thought they were going to crush these crossbowmen here. That would. He
might be able to turn and fight that, to be honest.
Yeah, Cuirassier is very strong.
Yeah,
that is true. But yeah, instead of going up to the next stage, Kiljardi chose to fight in that choke there, and in the end, that ultimately didn't.
Yeah, and those 2 Felks in that choke were the big thing. Just the positioning of the Felks in that fight were really, really strong. I'm a bit surprised that Kiljardi didn't decide to push in a bit earlier, that he didn't have a read on what his opponent was doing a bit earlier. Had he gone in and pushed when the populations were truly at that large disparity, like 67 versus 40, I think he would have actually found some fairly good success in pushing in, because his army advantage was fairly good. But by the time he actually decided to push in, the window was just kind of gone.
Yeah, but here we do see a fight. Lots of Cuirassiers, they're going to go down. Those are going. Wow, they're doing a lot of work. They're going to go down, but they've been doing lots of area damage to the crossbowmen there. But here you can just see, you don't even have to play this game to realise there's an overwhelming number of green units, especially with the addition of veteran Cuirassiers. Oh my, that's so brutal. Look at that. GG. He sees the Cuirassiers and he's like, I don't even want these crossbows. I don't want to watch those crossbows die.
GG. That's game number 1.
Game number 1, going to Veni Vici VCW, which means in Latin, I came, I saw, I conquered. Yes, you certainly did, Veni, in this first match, but let's get out of this one. Head on into our second. Do you want to take a look at the post game or any last comments?
I'll take a look at the post game just very quickly.
Yeah, let's do it.
We can see that Veni did gather more resources. I guess that's to be expected when your opponent is fighting with his CDB for that much of the game. The military count fairly even. We can see Veni had just an insane trade. And if we look at the military unit population,
wow, he traded 58 pop. Yeah, he was behind, and ultimately, well, when Kiljardi was at 3 units, Veni was at 30.
Yeah, and once again, like, this graph very accurately depicts what actually happens when one player ages up. We can see that Veni flatlines for a little bit of time while he's getting aged up, and there's a big spike here where Kiljardi, around the 11.5 minute mark. I think if he would have been pushing in right around 11.5 minutes when, there was that 23 military pop disparity, before the 2 Falconets got into the mix and got positioned correctly, he could have maybe had a little bit of time where he could have punished Veni for aging. But we can see when he did choose to push in, the 2 Falconets in the choke absolutely smashed his army.
30 seconds extra and 2 cannons plus the veterancy upgrade and a bunch of skirms. That's what happens,
Yeah, and as a result, loses the fight fairly hard and never able to recover after that. So.
Yeah. But that does conclude the first game. It is our first game. This is a best of 7, potentially 6 more from these guys. See you in a moment. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Spring Championships round of 8. This is the semi-finals game, or is it the quarterfinals? Like I never get the distinction between those two is lost on me.
Quarterfinals.
Okay, that one. Here we have game number 2 between Veni Vidi VCW taking his first game in that French mirror. Nice victory to him. Here we have a German mirror on the Snowspawn of Hudson Bay, which is based on Saguenay, this map made by Gaia for, of course, this event. The differences are, of course, you start a bit further away from the coast. The coast is frosty, so you cannot build, well, you can build a dock on it, but you can't build anything else. And the hunt and coin mine distribution is a bit different, as well as the trade route and a few other things. We won't go into it. Kiljardi would like a sec before we begin. We'll have to give that
a moment to mentally prepare himself.
Absolutely. Need to... Oh, shots fired by Venny. Need to micro vills.
The thing is, with Germans, it's really easy, right? There's only 3 vills to micro.
That's true, but I find, like, with Germans, they start so close to each other, you click on the one in the middle, and it just selects the one on the left or the right, and you're like, I can never actually pinpoint that guy.
They've got that big damn cart that
they're
trucking around with them. That's just so hard to click around.
Yeah, that click radius is... Wow, did you see that? Like, I was looking at Venny Micro and his vills there. He used the pause time to right-click all 3 of them onto the muskox, so you need 3 shots to kill a muskox.
No,
then
you only need 2. Muskox have less hit points.
Oh, I thought you needed 3. And I thought he was being a pro, you know, using 3 to shoot the dead, and then put 1 in the TC real quick, and then shoot it across using the button, pressing N, the eject button, to get it out there onto the other side. I thought he was doing that, but actually no. This is a German mirror, though, as we have mentioned. In the east of the map, here we have Venny, in the colour green. So he's starting off all on food. Well, what else are you not going to... what else are you not going to... I'm just going to stop talking. Yeah.
You can do it.
I can do it. All right. Hasn't started with the market. That's the point I'm making out here. And, you know, obviously as Germany, that can be quite tough sometimes, since, of course, you don't have guaranteed resources like crates and stuff in the same way that French can always get a market. But having said that, Venny finds himself a 125 wood treasure. Micro in this like a beast. Absolutely. Shooting the animals, so they start following him. Gets to the very edge of the treasure, so they both run away. Gets out of the range, makes that one run back. Now going to come back in again and continue shooting this polar bear. Going to creep this like an absolute monster, of course. Here he's not going to be able to get out the range again.
He got the reset. Yeah,
that was
perfect.
That was perfect. You don't often get that. Like, because sometimes they'll both run back and then they both reset to full HP, and you've just wasted so much time. But the point is,
that's a very precise radius.
Yeah, that was really well done. Or he got a bit lucky. But I'm tempted to believe Venny is... crack shotting it just before it claws him in the face. I don't know, you can see how little damage he's taken from this treasure, which is actually quite a substantial amount of damage, but that's 2 polar bears. Traditionally, you'd never be able to get that. It's only in the last 3 years that sort of technique has been sort of perfected, I'd say. I don't know if that's true, but anyway, the point is 125 wood. Gonna help him get out that market, or perhaps an earlier trading post or something. I don't know what he wants to do, but what is Kiljardi up to, Venny? Well, Zuda, you're not Venny. That's because I just commentated there.
He's got himself a market. How has he gotten? He must have gotten himself a fairly good treasure as well. Yeah, we can see Kiljardi did pick up a 150 coin treasure.
150.
So and he's going to be able to roll that. Yeah, he's going to be able to roll that into some market upgrades. He did have to stop and actually chop quite a bit of wood to be able to get his hunting dogs underway. But now that he's got his hunting dogs finished, that's certainly going to be a nice little advantage for him moving forwards. And I'm actually surprised that Venny's not investing the time right now to just mining 20 gold and dropping a market of his own. Perhaps he wants to use that extra wood to build a trading post a little bit earlier.
Or perhaps he values the market during transition a bit more. Oh, perhaps he's found a 60 wood treasure.
Yeah. He's going to actually have a trading post really, really early. And in a German mirror, that's going to be a huge advantage.
Yep, there it is. Popping it down. Yeah. That's insane.
Immediately. But at least Kiljardi does have something to show for this. He does have a market. He does have an upgrade already completed. He will have the ability to get Gang Saw really, really early. And we can see he's still aging up, almost on par with his opponent, only a second or 2 behind. So
literally 3% behind, I think. It's not really anything at all. Oh! Going into hand combat with his opponent on the trading site here, identified where his explorer was, saw that his opponent picked up 2 really big wood treasures, and suspected that his opponent would be building a trading post. And, you know, he saw from the treasures that, yeah, that guy's explorer going to have taken quite a lot of damage. I'm going to be able to get in here, not kill it before it goes down, or maybe if you get there fast enough, I don't know, but it's very unlikely you'd ever kill it before it gets down. But certainly might be able to pick himself up 45 XP, and more importantly, kill the German player's only scouting unit. You do not get any other unit to scout the map with as a German player.
Yeah, and that's going to be fairly significant, especially due to the fact that there's a fairly decent chance that Venny wants a second trading post here, just because of the fact that he got so much wood in transition. He could probably get that transitioned into a second TP, but oh my god, I just saw we've got...
Forwardville.
Yeah, we've got a Forwardville, and Venny's going to have some company early.
This looks like some aggressive style coming out, perhaps a forward barracks and some other stuff.
And that has definitely not been scouted, because Venny's scout went from being low HP down here to, you know, be kind of confined to his base, just due to the fact that Kiljardi's explorer has been poking around. And perhaps that's what the entire intent of the little ploy with Kiljardi's explorer actually was, that he is just trying to deny any scouting information here in the middle portion of the map. But yeah, it's actually going to get scouted out. Really good scouting path there by Venny to be able to actually see that.
Yeah,
immediately sees the barracks.
Is he going to start sieging it? Get the ×4 damage multiplier out at that guy? No, just going to target this villager. It's gone. I don't think
that. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. The important thing is he knows there's a forward Rex.
That's true.
And he knows what he's up against, and he's not going to blindly just try and age or something behind this, or more importantly, not be like caught like building a trading post here or something of that. Like, gonna just be able to invest his resources.
It's just occurred to me. I'm like, why is he attacking that villager? Like, it's so pointless. You're never gonna kill it, but you get that first 2 extra Yolan for free upon hitting up with your first batch of 3, well, settler wagon shipment or whatever it is he'll send. And if he can do enough damage to this and just keep snaring it, don't let it get away, perhaps he can pick up a really nice early 2 villager kill. Like, perhaps that's why he's doing that.
It's going to be tough when there's pike out on the map, but yeah, certainly it's if nothing else, it's an annoyance factor, like that you're being attacked. Bella is currently, you know, being
sirened off.
Oh, and look how smart that is. Like, Kiljardi dropping 1 pike back to be able to go and deal with the 2 Ulans to come in.
Like, he knows that that's a thing that could happen. Bringing the 1 pike here to deal with the 2 Yolan, really nice, and it's obviously 2 Yolan of his own as well. It doesn't look like he's going to lose that village, but certainly Venny getting a nice portion of damage off from that. Unfortunately loses his two cavalry, but still, I think that was a nice play from Venny to snare that, but also perhaps an even nicer play by Kiljardi to send the pike back.
Yeah, and now we can see that Venny has made a correct adaptation in his build. His herding has been fairly good. He's got a very safe coin mine, and he's got his barracks in his stable placed right behind his base in a nice, safe spot. So he is going to lose the trading post as a result of the early pressure from Kiljardi, but we have to remember that was essentially free to begin with, just because of the amount of wood treasures he got. So certainly not going to be too displeased with that. Now with some cav out on the map, looking just to try and cause some annoyance while he builds up an appropriate defense to this very early aggression that Kiljardi is showing.
That's true. 2 cav coming in. Perhaps they can get a Vil. There's no weak ones there, but there's certainly... Oh, 3 Doppelsodners pop out. Gonna lose the 2 Yolan for free. They were all caught up in a massive... villages there. That's not too good. That's like, obviously you get those for free as well, but losing all these free units, he's not going to be too happy. Certainly would like to get a bit of extra value out of those. Another cavalry goes down to those pikemen. I think with the amount of early stuff he's lost, he's not looking too good. Certainly against an opponent, though, who is going to do colonial pressure is German. I think that's sort of a win in itself. Like, well, I don't know, it's a mirror, but really, traditionally, both players will go up to Fortress Age in this matchup. But here, Kiljardi, I think traditionally always preferred colonial play, and has certainly forced that out. Looks like he's doing pretty well. Going to pick himself up 160 XP. Has quite a frightening army there, though. And considering the amount Venny's lost in this early portion.
That is scary. And another thing we have to consider is Venny's, like, kind of in a bit of a bind in terms of, like, his wood count here as well. He's not gathering a lot of wood. He's got 1 house that's very low on hit points, and he's at 64 out of 80 population. So if that house goes down, he's going to find him in a situation very soon where he's not going to be able to... I
think it's going to happen.
Yeah, where he's not going to be able to train units, and I don't know.
Especially as Germany, where your settlers, where shipments just give you so much pop worth of stuff.
Yeah, and we'll have to see whether or not this adversely affects him.
It goes down so quickly. It's looking pretty tough. And, you know, look at his shipment order as well. He sent 8 crossbows because he knew he'd need them. But I think maybe it was a bit preemptive. You see his opponent just going for the 2 Vils, 3 settler wagon, well, 2 settler wagon, 3 settler wagon there, and then pushing in with these military shipments. I thought 3 Dops was fairly interesting, but it's looking at, well, he's got lots of military units. But Venny perhaps would have preferred to send 3 Vils first, then 8 crossbows, because those Vils, 6 villages, could have been collecting quite a lot of resources in the time differences between those 2 shipments. He got them the wrong way around, is what I'm saying. Perhaps being a bit too preemptive, trying to play safe and realizing that, I don't know.
Yeah, a villager did go down on the south of the map. He's going to lose an Ulan as the result of it. I don't know. This is scary. This is going to be pretty tough to hold. I feel like, especially now that the 8 crossbow are working their way across the map. This might get hard, very quickly for Venny to hold. There's just so many units here for Orange.
Yeah, Venny does have plenty of pop space now, though, but that's only because he's lost so many units.
Yeah. He's lost.
Look at that. It's currently 60 units from for Kiljardi. 60 orange military units versus his opponent's 35. He's almost double up. Yes, Venny still has his Minutemen, and there is more military shipments he can send from his home city to defend. But, I don't know, a lot of his army is cavalry, which isn't going to be hugely useful. Yeah. He's not going to get them anywhere near those enemy crossbowmen with so many doppelstommers in fight. Losing another house. The pressure is real.
Yeah, he just can't. He can't afford to just keep bleeding these houses. He's going to be forced to fight at some point here, which is really awkward because like you mentioned, he's really far behind in military population. And I think this is go time for Kiljardi.
It's go time for Venny as well. He calls the button on his Minutemen, but not before losing far too many cavalry. They have so few hit points. Yulan are not happy walking around. They're only happy dealing damage to the high DPS. You can see them just falling over, and once the cav have gone down, there's going to be no sort of pseudo thing to block his opponent from getting his cavalry up close and personal. Fortunately, though, does manage to kill off all of his opponent's cabs, so that's not going to be too much of an issue. His crossbowmen in the back are going to be safe, going to do lots of damage, but you look at his opponent, he's got more crossbowmen, and here, Doppelsodden's going to come out. Certainly good when they get up close, but losing, essentially two Doppelsoddeners, since they moved so slowly before they even got into combat, and then just pulled out, didn't want to commit to it.
For what it's worth, that fight actually went fairly well for Venny. He was able to get his Doppelsunders kind of right up in the front, and they did get quite a bit of AoE damage off against the pikemen and the Ulans before actually falling down. And it's to be perfectly fair, he actually had an okay trade there. I mean, yeah, he's still behind, but take a look at the military pops. They haven't really grown in disparity. Like, that was definitely a fight where Kiljardi should have smashed his opponent, and he just kind of went a little better than even, which is not.
Oh, and lots of cavalry here, gonna come out pretty forward. The pikemen in the wrong position, and that not very many of them at all. Those Doppelstommers can dispatch them fairly easily. These cavalry gonna do lots of damage there, though actually gonna go down. But yeah, that previous fight we were talking about, I was kind of, you may have been, from the way I was casting it, I was expecting Orange to come out further ahead. I thought he'd had more cavalry, but actually Venny did a good job of taking all his cav out, so his crossbowmen in the end were perfectly fine. But still,
at the end of the day, this fight, I mean, it's yeah. I mean, Kiljardi.
Oh, more cavalry coming up. The 5 cav shipment. There is no pikemen left at all. The only thing is, though, these aren't hussars. These don't have very many hit points, and there's still quite a lot of crossbowmen there.
Yeah, they're just gonna fall over. And unfortunately, usually when you're sending 5 Ulans, you're probably losing anyways.
It's a bad shipment. Yeah.
It's just not a very good shipment. It's kind of a desperation. I mean, he had to send it there. I mean, he's getting raided now. He's losing villagers, and there's the resign.
That's the game, obviously. But Kiljardi taking his second game, a nice cheeky Colonial agenda where I think from the previous, from the past, Kiljardi's always preferred to play Colonial games rather than the Fortress ones. Not going to let this game go into the Fortress Age, so plays a build where it's going to be a complete. Well, obviously it's a mirror gonna play it so in such a way. Yeah,
and I'm just impressed with Kiljardi's decision early there and his commitment to the early aggression. We can see by the military unit count that he got ahead and he stayed ahead. I mean, look at the military count. It kind of shows what we were talking about. Venny was at 30 versus Kiljardi's 56, and he actually managed to kill quite a few units for the cost of what it was worth, but he just wasn't able to follow it up with anything. Like, he wasn't able to get a big reinforcing batch or anything like that, and Kiljardi just kind of got ahead and stayed ahead. And so despite the fact that he actually had a fairly good trade here, It wasn't really enough to actually make the difference because Kiljardi's reinforcements were just a little bit too strong.
There is certainly that. But don't go anywhere, guys. Game 3 coming up in just a moment.